A deep pattern that I'm noticing in my life is this desire to feel clear, inspired, energized before taking action. I remember spending hours ChatGPTing, tweaking the language on my landing page, polishing DMs, voice notes, emails, journaling about what are my interests for the fourth time. But the weird thing is, this new pattern that I'm noticing now in my life is that my best work, when I feel the most clear, has come from when I move while I still don't feel fully ready. So today I want to share with you what I'm learning about this pattern and how I'm moving through it in the hopes that it helps you too. It's February 2025. I'm in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I'm sitting in this co-working space and it's just about 11:30. I'm closing my laptop to go across the street to grab lunch. And I had been ChatGPTing for the last 3 hours about making this pivot in this SaaS business that I had been starting. For the last handful of months, I had been building this software as a service website to help YouTube creators find better video ideas using and leveraging what is working in their niche, using comments, using videos that are popping off, but in their authentic and title style that they use. But the problem was I had been not getting the user traction that I had wanted. And it finally came to this breaking point where I was like feeling this inner tension, this inner friction. Like, is this what I really should be doing right now? And so this pivot that I was making and working through was moving this to a done with you service. I was going to work one-on-one with people and help them use software to get more clients for YouTube. But the problem is I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I know nothing about sales, marketing. I just know how to build software. And so I'm ChatGPTing, trying to understand, like, what's the offer here? What's the unique mechanism? Like, how do I get this in front of people? How do I make it work? How do I build this into a sustainable business? And I'm trying to understand all of the logistics of this pivot, of this new business direction. And so I go to lunch and I wrote down some things in my journal that summed this pattern up perfectly. On my run to Anytime Fitness gym, I was like, why do I keep spinning in circles? I feel like I've taken so long to make this pivot. I've spent like 12 plus hours on it. I feel like there's this level of perfection I'm going for. I mean, I also just have no idea what I'm doing. I never learned any marketing or sales or any of this. I just read some books on general topics, picked up some things here and there. And so I recognize concepts, but still need to get that application practice. Ask me to build something though, and I'll smash it. And inside the response from ChatGPT, it says, no amount of tweaking your DM script or research framework will give you confidence, because confidence comes from seeing it work, even if imperfectly. And so the more that I reflect and look for this pattern in my life, the more I see it in these big leaps, these big moments that I took. It came up when I was deciding to quit my job, when I was working as software engineer, feeling this pull, this belief that there's this bigger life, bigger vision for me. There has to be this more fulfilling, meaningful life out there. And I can't tell you how many days I was journaling, 4 hours, spending mornings in coffee shops, trying to dump all of my thoughts, figure out the logistics of, if I quit my job, can I get a new job? Should I just switch jobs? Like, what are the logistics of traveling? Like, what are the implications of this? I have these massive notes still in my Obsidian journal, trying to process and think through all of these things. And yet it took me a long time to finally feel ready to make that leap. Yet when I start to reflect on what has made the most difference in my life recently, the last year, in terms of clarity, results, outcomes, energy, I start to see this new pattern. There were times when I wasn't thinking through, oh, I need to understand this full solution. I need to keep tweaking the language to understand it. I just moved first. I took action first when I wasn't feeling fully ready. I'll never forget this moment recording reels. It was 2 months ago. I just got back into the van and I was trying to figure out this new workflow, this new routine to be able to record reels. And so I sat down, did this meditation, 10 minutes, was writing down ideas that were coming to my head. And I got up and the intention was, these ideas should be pretty high quality because they're bubbling up in my subconscious. And so right after that, I would jump in, hit record, and start to work through and speak through some of those ideas. And so this one day, I'm sitting there, do my meditation, come over, and I'm like, no, none of the ideas in my note are that good. They don't really sound that valuable. And so I get up, and of course, after a meditation, after like a breath work, nervous system, like very calm, very relaxed. And so I come over here and I'm like, well, I don't really have much to talk about. And so I'm feeling kind of deflated. But I set up my Osmo here, hit record, and just start talking through it. It was like talking about this and this is going on, and like, I guess like this. And I get like 20, 30 minutes of the way through. And suddenly I noticed my energy change. I had started talking about like what was alive in me, talking about my to-do list, this struggle, this problem that I was dealing with, feeling overwhelmed by my to-do list. And I noticed like my arms are like flailing around here. My voice is cracking. I'm screaming at my camera here. And I was like, wait a second. Something just happened. I literally started this recording session 30 minutes ago. And I'm like, well, I guess I don't really have much to talk. And I'm here, like I'm screaming at my camera. Like in that moment, I realized that I got more energy from speaking out my thoughts, from hitting record, just starting to talk and going with that energy and seeing what comes of it. And when I think back to how I got into coaching, I see this new pattern yet again. I didn't sit there and journal and look at like the top 10 business ideas. What's going to get me to 10K a month, the fastest? It was through conversations. I was living my life, doing other things, having deep conversations with people, and walking away from those conversations, hearing things like, this is something I only tell my therapist. And this has been super helpful for me. Like, you would make a really good coach. And I was walking away from those conversations feeling this sense of flow. Like the last 2 hours, the last hour just flew by, and it was fun. It was challenging. There were interesting questions, trying to understand this other person. And they were walking away with it, with their life changed. And this just repeatedly happened more and more and more. And so I get to this point where I have this mountain of evidence, and it's also the thing that I enjoy doing, trying to understand someone else, getting into flow, asking interesting questions. And so I had moved first. I had done something first, and I was looking back at what I had done to understand what I was doing. And that is where the clarity came from. And so I made this video because I was like, I can't be the only one struggling with this pattern, trying to understand all of the logistics, trying to feel ready, trying to feel clear, trying to understand everything before moving forward. And so if you've made it this far in this video, I want to give you what I'm learning about the deeper layer underneath this, because there's a deeper pattern underneath here. And what I realized is, as I've been giving AI my journal entries, trying to understand my behavioral patterns, what I'm realizing is that there's this connection to this desire to feel safe, this safety, and this pattern of trying to understand, trying to craft the perfect offer, craft the perfect message, is this way to avoid feeling vulnerable, feeling judged, feeling judgment from other people, failing, having someone else disappointed, and losing the respect that I've gained from that person. All of this planning, all of this perfectionism, all of this trying to understand fully before doing is just a way to avoid that feeling. And the challenge that I've been facing lately, and the behavioral pattern that has started to tick this off, is I see as I set goals and set weekly plans, daily plans, and I score what I get done each week and how it relates to the goals for this quarter and this 12 weeks. I noticed that I kept getting weekly scores, 50%, 60%. There were so many things that I wasn't getting done. And what I realized is I'm setting goals based on this future version of myself that I see, that I dream about, instead of being realistic about my own actual behavioral patterns, nervous system evidence. And so each week I'm in this state of always operating from a place of lack. I'm always not where I want to be. And this feeling is such a annoying feeling because I'm never enough. I never do enough because I'm always setting these goals based on this version of myself that is not even realistic to me, my nervous system, my behavioral patterns. And so moving into what I'm doing about this, some of the realizations I made is I need to set smaller goals based on my actual behavioral evidence, my actual nervous system, not what other people are doing, not these other people that I see on social media, even friends that are doing incredibly well. I need to be more realistic about where I am. And then realizing that action precedes clarity. Looking for more of these opportunities in my life where I don't feel fully ready, but there's some message that I could send, some action that I could take, some video that I record where I don't feel fully ready, but I can still move and take an imperfect action and start to value those more. And what I'm finding is helpful is starting to reflect on my state and my energy, picking up more of these moments where it's like, I just hit record, I have nothing to talk about, I hit record, and after 30 minutes, I'm feeling this buzz, excitement, aliveness, and that feels good. Starting to pick up those moments so that I can force into my brain this evidence of, hey, remember that time where you didn't have anything to talk about, but you hit record anyway, and you started talking, and how good you felt after that? I can think back to that state that I actually want, having finished the video, feeling alive, feeling that buzz, and remember that that's going to come if I move. And the last part of this is seeing this as a opportunity to rewire my nervous system and my own self-image and identity. And that's going to come from actions, evidence, convincing my brain of this pile of evidence where when I get into this situation, I can move and this is how I act. I can still feel not ready and still take action. Or I can feel tired and still do this thing, and this is the result, and prove to my nervous system that I'm still alive, I'm still safe. And actually my best work, when I feel the most clear, comes from those moments. And so my question for you is, where are you over planning as a way to avoid failure, judgment, and vulnerability? You know what I'm talking about. And where in your life, when you reflect, do you see the most clarity, energy? Where does your best work come from? And what inputs, what behaviors produce that? Because I can sit here and talk at you for hours. You can continue to watch these videos, but the way you'll change with me here is by making this connection for you inside of your brain, realizing that the ChatGPT that you're doing, the planning, the understanding, is just a means to avoid feeling failure, feeling judgment from other people. And how do we rewire that in you? Start to accumulate evidence where you're in these situations, not feeling ready, not feeling worthy, and yet you take action anyway. And you prove to your nervous system that you're still safe. And maybe the most energy, the most clarity that you get is from those moments. If you're waiting right now to feel ready, maybe that is the thing that's keeping you stuck. That's all I've got for this video. See you in the next one.